Welcome to Lookout Mountain Family Dentistry. I'm Dr. Howard. We're back in our dental lab at our office making some sports mouth guards. So let's show you what we've got. So previously I showed you how we kind of do these custom designs. We can cut the planks and do two different colors there. So that's what we've got. That's what we're going to use today. We've got the Drufel mat skin. You can get this from Dentsply. You hook it up to your pressure, and it's a pressurized canister that really molds these real good onto these casts to get a real good custom fit to your mouth. It goes up to 6 bar, almost 90 psi. So we've got it turned on, and we're going to put our cast down on the table here. I usually don't like to put it straight right in the center. The front area here, it kind of has to drop down further, so I'll put the back molars back to one side of the edge there. And if you kind of put it straight on with the line here, you can kind of really center it right on the front teeth. So we're going to put this over. Put the ring on to hold it in place. And you can kind of line it up real good to the front teeth so it'll go in real nicely there. So we've got it, the heat on for 2 minutes. We're going to heat that up. And then your compressor pressure, once we push this button, the canister will drop down and it'll pressurize the canister and put 6 bar or 90 psi of pressure onto that plastic to mold over the cast. It'll be real neat. You'll see here in just a minute how we do that. Okay, so it's starting to drop down, and we can move our cast to get it lined up perfectly. So it's touching the cast there now. We'll let it heat up there. Okay, good. I think it's ready to pressurize. So we remove the heat, push the button, the canister drops down. You let go, and the pressure's building up, building up, building up there, and it'll stop once it gets to its maximum pressure. And now we've got a cool down period, so we just wait a good 5, 6, 10 minutes for that to cool down. Walk away, come back if we need to. Just let that cool down. And we'll be right back, and we'll see how it turned out. That's our first layer, 3 millimeters. But once it stretches out over the cast, it's going to be less than 3 millimeters. You know, the recommended thickness of a sports mouth guard to do its job, to be effective, is to have at least 3 millimeters total thickness there. So we're going to have to add another layer to build up to that recommended thickness of 3 millimeters. You know, sometimes with different sports we may even want it to be 4, 5, 6 millimeters. So you may add 2, 3 layers onto this to get your recommended thickness. Okay, just a few more minutes to let that cool down. And you know, while we're waiting, I've got some of my stickers or logos or names or whatever you want to put on there. Get those ready. You know, sometimes I'll use a clear sticker that I have printed out something, or I'll just use paper and a glue stick and stick it on there. We've got our second layer. We're going to do a 2 millimeter clear layer over that first layer that we just did. And that'll probably give us about 3.5 millimeters of thickness that we need. So that's our 2 millimeter thickness there. The second layer, you'll want to heat up more than the recommended time. You know, all of these boxes have a scan code on there. You can scan it and it'll do your recommended time. But when you're doing that second layer, you want it to really stick to that first layer you did, So you're going to heat it up more than you did for your recommended time here. We'll still give it a few more minutes to cool down. The more time you let it cool, the better, less distortion that you do see. If you try to take it out too early, a lot of times it'll distort it and you've got to start all over. So best just to let it cool down. 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 20 minutes, walk away, go do something, come back, and it'll be nice and cool and ready to remove there. We'll get our Bowley gauge out to really give us the exact thickness that we have. Okay, I think it's cooled off enough. So let's release the pressure. We'll take it out. Okay, it's still, the cast is a little warm. So now we've got to cut it out. Some people like to use the heating knife. You can do that. I will just usually just take a pair of scissors and cut it out with the scissors. So we're just going to go to cover the first molar there. So we'll cut it out, and we want to leave a lot of material over the lip there. So we'll cut it up real high around the front teeth to leave a lot of material over the lip, but on the back posterior teeth we'll cut real close to the teeth. Yeah, a lot of ways you can do this first layer. So we've got it cut out. Let's just try it on the cast here. Okay, so it goes on real good. Left it up high here in the front teeth, closer to the teeth down here in the back. A lot of ways we could have, just do it from canine to canine, remove the palate. That way it gives you a lot more thickness here in the front. We're just going to do it all universal thickness mouth guard here. So the next thing that I want to do is I like to kind of poke some holes in here. You can see these areas where the teeth kind of touch. That's where you get a lot of these bubbles. So if you can kind of poke a hole there, poke a hole here, poke a hole here, you won't get many bubbles here. So all these areas in between the teeth, I'll just poke a hole. That way when I put the second layer on, there won't be any bubbles there. That air will escape through that hole I just poked, and there'll be no bubbles. So we'll put it back on the cast. When I'm doing these for free for the kids, I usually will put my name and the office information on there. A little bit of a marketing kind of sticker here. So we'll put it on the back of the teeth just so it doesn't show, but they'll know, this is Dr. Howard's custom fitted mouth guard there. Put it right on the palate, behind those front teeth. Straighten it out a little bit. You want to put the stickers away from the edges, because when you put that second layer on, you want it far enough away from the edge so when you trim it, it doesn't start to separate that second layer that you put on there. We'll use the glue stick. Put our printed paper sticker. We'll put it in the back of the teeth, that way it won't mess up the nice colors that we've got there. Okay, good. So that's the school's logo. So we'll put that back on the tray. Again, when we put it on the tray, we don't want to center it. I like to put the posterior teeth back towards one edge. So the middle is more on the front teeth. The middle gets hot, more flexible, and will adapt around that front teeth area a lot better. So let's put on, it's a 2 millimeter clear. That'll be our second layer that we put on. Heat it up. We're going to heat it up more than the recommended time. We want to make sure it melts really good, so I'll just watch it till it kind of drops down and touches that mouth guard. One good thing to know, when you're doing that second layer, you don't want to touch that first layer, get it dirty. If you get a lot of dust and oil, and if you're trimming in here and you get a lot of dust, oils, and you're touching that first layer, it doesn't stick as well. So you want to make sure you don't touch it very much and keep it clean. That way that second layer, when it melts on, it'll stick really good. So keep that first layer nice and clean. That's even true for when I store these. I kind of want to store them in a Ziploc bag or in the box, just so a lot of dirt and dust doesn't get on there, because I don't know what I'm going to be using it for. And if I'm using it for 2 or 3 layers, I want them to make sure they stick together really good. So keep them clean. Okay, it's starting to drop down. So I watch it, I'm going to watch it, let it touch. And then once I feel that it's heated up enough and it's touching, we'll pressurize it down into place. Okay, so yeah, it's heated up pretty good. It's touching now. Give it a few more seconds to really melt. And then I think it's ready to go. So let's start it up. The button releases. It's pressurizing up. Almost at 6 bar now. Okay, good, at 6 bar. So good, so now we just want to wait again. Let that cool off really good, so we'll walk away, just let it cool off. The most common mistakes is you try to release it too early before it's cooled off. It distorts it, and you've got to start all over. So patience, just have to be patient a lot of times. These are very time-consuming appliances to make. The more layers you do, the more heating and cooling time you have, the more time it takes. So we're going to leave and go do something else, and we'll come back and see how everything turned out. See you in a moment. Okay, so we just did our dual laminate. We did 2 sheets. We laminated them both together. So it's cooled off. It's been about 10-12 minutes, so we're ready to release the pressure and take it out. So let's do that. So it's still, you can feel the warmth off the cast. So a lot of times I'll put it in their cold water, a cold sink here, and cool it off, make sure it's cooled off all the way, and it's formed really good around the cast. So let's put that under the sink here. Make sure it's cooled off really good. So this cold water, put some finger pressure on there. And that way we know for sure that it's cooled off really good. We can blow that off. A lot of times if it's really hard to get it off, I'll just make a little cut through the center. That way it'll peel off one side and then peel off the other side really good. Okay, so we'll cut it out and look at it. So yeah, there's no bubbles, so that's good. I've got the Bowley gauge here, so we can measure it and really see the exact thickness that we've got in different areas. Let's see what we've got. So it's going to be very thin up here where it stretches out. You know, we've got two millimeters here in the back molar area. Let's look and see what we've got. So good, we've got three millimeters where we want it. 3 millimeters where we want it. So we use 3 millimeter and 2 millimeter plates, and we've got a final thickness of 3 millimeters there. So that'll be a protective mouth guard. So it's ready to trim up now. So you want to make sure you relieve the areas off all of the frenum tags. You can thin it out on the palette there. So let's go around. We'll use an acrylic burr, very straight thin one, to kind of remove that midline frenum there. You don't want that to rub on the frenum, or they won't be able to wear it. It'll cause them some pain and sore there. So we'll just go straight down the middle, remove that area there. You can see where we removed that some. We'll go around again and trim it some more. I've got a stone burr. We'll go around and trim everything. So you're just going around all the edges, rounding them off, thinning them out in some areas. And you should always wear safety glasses. So let me find my safety glasses. So I know some of you are watching and were saying, Dr. Howard, you're not wearing your safety glasses. So I stopped, got my safety glasses on, and we'll finish this up now. And the last thing you want is something to get in your eye and cause an infection or a sore, not be able to see. So yeah, safety. Okay, so yeah, after the stone, we'll go over it a couple more times with a coarse kind of polishing. Okay, so we've got to go around and finish kind of trimming and polishing the edges here. So we just finished the stone. Now we've got a couple of these polishing discs, a coarse and a fine. So we'll go around, make sure it's real nice and smooth and polished. You can put it back on the cast, thin out a few areas here, especially along the palate, the roof of the mouth. Helps it make it so they can talk a lot easier if we get this nice and smooth. Then we'll switch to the fine polishing. Go around one more time. And then we'll take a flame to it and really smooth everything out and get it nice and shiny. Okay, so I think we'll run your finger along the edges, make sure everything's nice and smooth. Get some of that dust off. Then we'll take a flame and really smooth out and polish it nicely here. We'll run it under some water to cool it off real quickly. And then it should be ready. I'll take a toothbrush inside to make sure we got everything cleaned off, make sure it looks really nice before you present it to the patient. Okay, let's look what we've got. So we've got a two-colored half-half blue gold custom fitted Dr. Howard's sports mouth guard there. So it's ready to give to the patient, so we'll put it in the box and give it right to the patient. When you give it to the patient, that's when you'll get the bite. Since this is made, it's actually for my mouth, so let's try it in and we can see how it fits. So I'll warm up these biting areas there, and I'll put it in and bite down into it, and it'll give me the exact bite of how my mouth is. So those bottom teeth fit nicely up on that biting surface. So we'll warm up that surface there a little bit. You don't want to put it in too hot. We'll put it in. Bite down. I think it fits pretty good. Let me show you some of the other ones that I've made here too. We did the ASU colors with the school logo on there. We did a white first layer. We did a real colorful one with a white first layer too. Some of these neon colors really pop out if you do a white first layer. And then we did 3 colors, mixed it up a little bit more. And then some of the ones that people like are these kind of tie-dyed mixed ones. This was yellow and black. But yeah, I seem to be able to talk pretty good with this in my mouth. It fits pretty good, it's comfortable, it doesn't fall out. Yeah, I think it's good. It turned out really good. I think, this will last a long time. And it'll protect your teeth. That's the important part. So until next time, we'll see you. Bye.